Hello, are you Janhavi?
Hi, I'm Janhavi. Thank you.
Janvi,
Yeah,
Janvi.
Janhavi.
So the H is silent.
Yeah, the H is silent.
Okay.
Yes.
Janvi, my name is Brian. It's nice to meet you today.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas, United States,
Oh,
but I currently reside in Mexico. Where are you from?
I'm from India.
I'm sorry to hear about everything that's going on with the
Oh
pandemic
yeah,
there.
it's really bad over here. Like literally all of my neighbors are suffering from it. We're the
Ooh.
yeah, and it's yeah, the cases they are increasing like insane. It's crazy.
Yeah. I saw something like close to 400,000 infected just yesterday.
Yeah, it's the
Which,
highest. Kind of feel embarrassed to talk about it, but yeah, this is the scenario right now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I just want to let you know we support you here from
Thank you.
Mexico, the United States.
Thank
We
you.
hope you guys are strength, India, strength.
Thank
As
you.
we would say, Fuerza India, which is have strength, India.
Yes, it's strength. How is the scenario in your country in Mexico?
It was pretty bad a couple of months ago, but we never really got above about 25,000 daily cases. Right now,
Oh,
we're about 4,000 daily cases, but we still get around 300 to 500 deaths. Where we are now compared to where we were a couple of months ago, we've improved,
and
but
we have
we're not
not
out of the
improved
woods yet.
apparently. We have not improved apparently. We call it the second wave.
Well, yeah, because you guys are like this. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right now,
Actually,
you're like,
this is a fun story. The last time government put a lockdown over here, so like there were no cases. There were like as compared to right now, there were no cases. But now
yeah.
it's just increasing like crazy. Everyone's dying and it's just happening all around. It's all over the place here.
And this is with a lockdown that this is
No, we are
happening.
not under lockdown, like not a total lockdown, but after 6 p.m. and before 5 a.m.
Oh, so you have a curfew, not a lockdown, but a curfew.
But a curfew, yes. In few states, not in all of the states, though.
Oh, so it's like they
Yes.
decided to follow the Trumpian and Bolsonaro playbook of let's do everything on a state by state level.
Yes.
Uttar Pradesh is different from Andhra Pura, which is different from Gujarat. Let them
Uh,
handle it however they can.
oh, you know about most of the states in India? That's so great.
I have a few friends from India, and
Oh,
I also had one of my best friends in high school. Well, his parents were Indian. I believe they were from Maharashtra, from Mumbai,
oh yeah.
but um, but he was born in the United States. So it's like the only way you could tell he was Indian was the fact that his last name was Gupta.
Gupta. Great.
But
Yeah.
even but even there, he pronounced his last name as Gupta. So it's like heavily Americanized.
Yes. It's kind of crazy. Whenever I talk to Americans, so they're gonna pronounce my name or my surname in an American accent. So and I'm like Janhavi Pawar, not Pawar or something like that. It's Pawar. So I just keep
Pavar,
correcting everyone. Pawar.
Pavar.
Yes, you got that.
Okay, so the R in what is your native language? Is it Hindi or is it another language?
It's actually Haryanvi. It's a dialect. But yeah, I
Haryanvi.
Haryanvi.
So like the R in your dialect is pronounced kind of like between like the R in Spanish and kind of like a semi-vocalic A
It's
almost.
kind of like my mistake. It's my bad because I do an American accent most of the time. So even I can't pronounce my name correctly nowadays. So
Pavar. Okay,
Pavad.
so
Yeah.
okay. So it's kind of like a very weak trill, almost like the Spanish R, when
Yes.
it's just one R. When it's
Yes.
a double R,
Otherwise,
then
it's
it's
not like
longer.
R
It's
and
like
no, that's in the south of India. I live in the north of India, but like the
yeah.
R sound, that is in the south of India.
Okay. So
Yes.
they trill stronger in the south, and
Yeah.
in the north it's a much weaker trill. but it's still
Yours
there.
can be weaker, but like my dialect, actually all over India, we are famous for being like really rude from where I am. And I don't know why is this,
Really?
but yeah. It's because you know we are Haryanvis, so Haryanvis are known to be badass and like you know we can beat anyone up. So yeah, that is the kind of people we basically are. But we are really sweet. It's just that our dialect it can sound really rude sometimes. Otherwise, it's not. We are really sweet people.
So it's kind of like there's a little bit of an intimidation factor
Yes,
amongst
there
you
is.
guys.
Yes,
But when people really start to get to know you guys, it's like, oh wow, these guys are very nice.
yes, it happens. Most of the times it happens. But people actually get scared the moment we start speaking our dialects, and then they're like, okay, we're going. Bye.
The extent of my Hindi, well, I don't really know any words in Hindi. The only thing I know
It's
about
okay.
Hindi is that they use the Devangari script.
Oh, Devangari script. Yes, and you must know Namaste in Hindi.
Namaste, yeah.
Yes.
That's like literally the only word I know is namaste.
Yeah. And yeah, I was just on Cambly to be honest. I was just checking out what it's all about, and then I thought like, why not have a conversation and try something out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming over to my class today. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for
So,
joining. I've been waiting for like 15 minutes, and there was no one.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Must be must be fairly busy then. So,
Yes. Or it must have
okay.
been my Wi-Fi because the last time I joined Cambly, it was just only to talk with a teacher. So that person joined in like in a few seconds. So must have been my Wi-Fi. We can't be really sure about that.
Yeah, that could be the case there. It could have
Yeah.
been my Wi-Fi, your Wi-Fi, combination of the two there. Um, if they're living anywhere like in the Middle East, for example, like if you have a teacher that's from the UK, for example, but they're living in Turkey, Turkey's historically had pretty bad connections with Wi-Fi.
Oh, I have a friend from Turkey, and whenever I'm calling her, whether it's a voice call or a video call, and after like 2 seconds, I'll be like, "Can you repeat that? What are you saying? Can you repeat that?" And she's like, "Oh, the Wi-Fi is the connections is pretty bad over here." I'm like, "Yeah, I can get that."
Yeah, right now it's about 3 in the afternoon in Turkey, and usually a time of pretty intense communications. And now that everyone's on home office, that puts undue strains on the internet. But
Oh.
you would figure that with 1 year and change of the pandemic, the companies in charge would have updated their servers to the point where they can handle more traffic.
That's cool. Thank God.
Yeah, you would think they would do that, but I guess they
Oh,
didn't.
okay. Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah. But it's like Turkey historically has been like one company that handled all of the internet communications. So maybe Turkey's kind of like Mexico in that before was only one company. Now you have other companies that use the first company's lines
Oh,
to send internet communication. So it's like the servers are still owned by one company.
wow. Does the people over there know, or like, people don't?
That depends. I think the people in Western Turkey, the more educated sectors, I think they know very well. The people like in Central and Eastern Turkey, maybe not so much.
Okay.
And in Mexico, the people do know about the internet. That's the reason why they've abandoned the primary internet company, Telmex, because they provide a horrible service. They'll go to like their alternative companies, but you get to the point where it's like the alternative companies to have fairly small servers, and sometimes those things saturate up quite a bit too.
Oh,
Though the problems in Mexico or compared to Turkey or other Middle Eastern places, not as severe. They're
ah,
usually pretty light problems.
got it. So is it like 3 p.m. in Mexico right now?
Oh no, it's 7 a.m.
Oh, well, sorry to wake you up this early in the
Oh
morning.
no, no, no. I've been up for about an hour and a half now. You haven't woken
Great.
me up at all.
Thank you. Because I usually sleep until like 8 a.m. in the morning because I work late at night. So, yeah.
Oh, so I have like the evening shift then at work.
I don't work, like I just work for my assignments and I'm a student. I study masters in
Oh,
English literature. Yeah.
English literature. Okay. So, what's your favorite part about English literature?
I think it's the poetry. I'll definitely go with poetry. I know it may sound a little cliche, like everyone would say poetry, but poetry. Well, this was my first semester, and this wasn't too much of a good semester. There were online classes. Some people were attending it. Some teachers were not there, and something like that. So we just gave the online exams. Students may have cheated. I can be well. I'm pretty sure about that. So yeah,
Mhm.
until now, I think it's the poetry part, but I hope this semester is gonna go good. But looking at the scenario right now in my country, so I don't think it's gonna be that good. So let's hope I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
just all by myself.
Yeah. Well, it's like right now with 300 to 400,000 cases a day and a population of over 1 billion people. Yeah, it'd be like I got some friends of mine that I got some, well, they used to be friends. Now they're
Okay.
acquaintances, not friends, that tried to tell me, oh, the pandemic is a pure setup. The pandemic is fake. The pandemic is this. The pandemic is that. It's like, dude, I literally talked to students from all over the world and in the areas
And
where he
you
said that
don't
they
want to
shouldn't have.
know. You don't want to know about India. No.
Yeah, I told him precisely that. Yeah. So I hope that if you run into an Indian that is currently at a loss because all their neighbors are dead,
Yeah.
or in my case, if you're in Mexico and like 2 months ago, your two favorite restaurateurs died because of the virus, it's like, well, they must have been comorbid. Nope, they weren't comorbid. They were in their 30s and perfectly healthy.
Wow. Well, there was a neighbor of ours that died like just yesterday, and I just got a call from my cousin, and she went like, "Oh, well, that lady, who used to sit beside your house, apparently, she is dead from coronavirus." And I'm like, "No!" And I told my dad, and my dad was like, "No, no, no, you must have heard that wrong because she was just perfectly fine." And was like, "No, that's what I heard." And like, yeah, so we daily get news that are quite shocking even for us. So it's
Yeah,
getting bad. Yeah.
yeah. But some of those guys, they live in their own little bubble. They don't even know. So, but that's why I say they just live in a bubble. If they actually got out into the world and see what's going on,
Yes.
like this type of job, I get to go out into the world from my own computer. That's why I love this job.
Apparently, I like your job too. I mean, talking to people all around the world, it seems so interesting.
Yeah. You get to learn about other cultures. You get to learn about like other ways of doing things.
Well,
Going back to your idea of English poetry, which you had mentioned before,
yes.
when I said which area of the literature that you liked, I was kind of referring more to the age.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay, okay.
like my favorite area of literature is probably transcendentalism and then impressionism, mid
I
19th
still haven't
century to
come to
late
these
19th
topics.
century.
For me, I think it's the Romantic era, and
Romantic era,
yeah, the
18th
eras you
century.
just talked about. We still haven't come to that in our syllabus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the transcendentalism aspect a little bit more. Think Ralph Waldo Emerson, David Henry Thoreau in the United States. I'm not sure who was in that vein in England at the time, but I do remember that vein in England in Impressionism. Sir Alfred Tennyson, very, very good author.
I've heard about
Author,
Tennyson, yeah. But I'm
yeah.
still reading like so many plays, The Way of the World, The School of Scandal. That's what I'm reading right now. Like that's what in our syllabus.
Syllabus. Uh-huh.
Yes. So these can be
Yeah.
confusing actually. These can be really confusing from time to time because there are so many characters and you don't know what character is loving who, and you don't know what character is marrying whom, and you don't know what character has an external marital affair for the money.
Yeah.
So yeah, this can get really confusing at times, but interesting.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, just to see like the um, different authors that write these things. like the transcendentalists a lot is because they try to merge nature with humanity, with the divine, and impressionism for all the bright colors. It seemed like impressionism was very, very optimistic about the
Wow.
future.
No, I'm gonna love something optimistic, definitely. I love optimism, yes. And talking about
Yeah.
nature, my dad's favorite is William Wordsworth because he talks about nature a
Oh,
lot.
Wadsworth.
Well,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
his poem
Yeah, he's a good poet
Daffodils,
too.
and I also like his poem. There is this one he's singing about a Norway girl, writing about a Norway girl, Norway country girl actually. So yeah, it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
But then the plays come again, and it doesn't really get too interesting anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, then you have the old epics of Beowulf, literally the first literary work in the
I
language.
still haven't read this one, and I still haven't read this one. Actually, what happens over here, let me tell you something about it. We just get notes. We just get notes for a question, and we're gonna go like, oh, this is the supernatural element. Oh, this is like Joan Keats as a poet. We just get notes for these questions. We don't get the whole book, and no one teaches us, like, ask us to read the whole novel or read the whole poetry. It's not like that. We just get notes for different questions, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my daughter just came downstairs is looking for something. One moment.
Oh, sure, sure.
All right. Very good. She was making a little bit of noise there, looking for something, and she found a book she wanted. Now
Oh,
she's going back upstairs.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we have 16 minutes left, and I'm gonna have to tell you something. I
yeah, go ahead.
actually, yes, I actually did an ad for Cambly recently on my YouTube video, and so they asked me to talk for like 10 minutes with a tutor, and I was like, okay, cool. So, and I asked them, what do I talk about? And they said just normal conversations and maybe something about American accent, and they have to promote that video. So if we can talk about in that sense, so yeah, that'll be really helpful.
Yeah. Okay. We can do that without a
Yeah.
problem.
Yes.
So, yes. Um, all right. Very good. So you're there in India. In happier times, what do you do as your routine there in India? In happier times, not
In
not now,
happier.
but
Okay. Got it. We people actually we have a lot of weddings over here. So as you must have already, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Indians, we have a large wedding. We literally have large weddings. There are so many guests, and the wedding just goes on for like a week. Like one day it's some
a
different
week.
culture. Yeah, it does. And it's so nice. We have a DJ night. We're gonna just dance our hearts out. Then there is like we put turmerics on the girl side and the boy side, and it's just so big. All the relatives are in your family. So basically, before a wedding, so all of the relatives of your family, they come to your house to help you prepare for the wedding, and it just gets
Mm.
really really interesting at that time. We're looking at these people, and some are even like far off relatives, and then I'm going to be asking like my other relatives or my mom and dad, who is that person and what is it doing in my room? And my mom and dad, oh, he's your dad uncle. I'm like, okay, I haven't seen him in quite a year, in couple of years. So we have weddings, and then we actually get outside in evening. Basically all of our neighbors, uh, it's not about all of the places in India, it depends from like region to region, but in my where I live in Haryana, in the evenings many people they just come out of their houses and the children play. The ladies they just come together and they talk for hours. They're going to start talking at like 5 p.m., and then they're going to finish up talking at like 10:30 p.m. I don't know how much they can talk about and how much content do they get to talk about. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do. But right now we don't see anyone in the street, and it gets sad, and yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you're saying that the weddings can last for up to a week in India. That's
Yeah.
that's huge. I
That's
thought a,
literally huge.
I thought a Catholic wedding was long. And
No.
a Catholic wedding, you're done in one day, but the wedding service itself takes several hours.
Oh.
Um, but it's like in Mexico, most everyone here is Catholic, but you have like other religious groups as well. My own wedding that I had like 11 years ago was very short in
Oh.
comparison and it was very small. We both decided we weren't going to invite a huge amount of people. It would be a small amount of people. And
Over here, actually, the mom and dad, they get to decide who they're inviting. They're gonna call their jeweler, they're gonna call their driver, they're gonna call some far-off relative, some friend they met like 10 years ago. This is what happens in India.
my parents were quite offended when
Oh,
because like when we decided to get married, it was like when we had originally decided to get married in April, and they were going to bring down the entire family, and we were like, nope. And like, but there were like other circumstances that were happening at the time. I lost my job, and I was looking
oh,
for another job. I was at the point of being evicted, and it was like very serious. It was like we decided to call off the wedding because it
oh,
was like I was not in a position at the time to be able to like support all the I was going to go deep into debt and everything else and we decided to carry forward with the wedding. So I got my job afterwards. Once I was more stable, then my wife and I, well, we eloped and we only invited like a few of our close friends to the wedding. And they found out like about a month afterward what had happened and they were
oh.
very offended.
Yeah.
but,
But
but
you pulled
but
through.
over
You look great.
time,
Yes, you pulled through. Wow.
yeah, over time we started to get a warmer relationship once again with my parents as they slowly realized what we had done was not to slight them at the least. It was literally we were not in a position to carry a lot of people at the wedding. We didn't want a lot of people at the wedding. It was my wife's desire and my desire that we'd have a very small, simple ceremony, and then we would try to live our lives very well afterwards. I know it's
Yeah.
kind of a contrast to what you have there in India
Yes,
with
it
the
is.
entire world there almost at your wedding.
Yeah.
In
Wow.
Mexico, there's this tradition called Quinceanera, which is like
Quinceañera.
when a girl turns 15 years old, it's basically kind of like the idea that they become a woman. They stop being a girl, they can become a woman.
Oh,
They go to the church, they're in a very nice dress, and usually there's a party afterwards. And the party can be fairly big, but usually not like thousands of people.
okay.
But what happened in one quinceañera is that the quinceañera's father, when he was posting about the upcoming quinceañera to social media, he had meant to invite only like close friends. But he committed fat finger syndrome and he accidentally invited everyone in Mexico.
What? What?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
he accidentally invited everyone in Mexico. So instead of like maybe close family and like a few relatives, maybe instead of like 100 people, around 10,000 people showed up to the quinceañera.
That's crazy. Wow.
And that went up, and to add insult to injury, it made the national news. And like many of the actors and actresses in Mexico, it's like, you know what? Since there are going to be so many people anyway, we're going to go down there and we're going to provide some of the food and catering and everything on our
Amazing.
own dime. It was
Wow.
amazing.
Wow. So as you said,
Now,
you were like born in America, but you've been living in Mexico. So
yeah, for the last
have
10
you
years.
have you not like caught up on the Mexican accent, or are you just talking to me in an American accent?
Still purely an American accent.
Uh,
It's the reason why is because, well, I used to speak with a very harsh Southern accent
oh,
of the United States, like as recently as 10 years ago. But as I have been in my profession of English teaching now for the past 8 years or so, I've realized that I have to make my accent more homogenized so that people can understand me more. I get so many people that think I'm from the Midwest, like the
Oh.
area that's like Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, very neutral accent.
Yeah, they have that.
And people is like, oh, you're from Texas, but you don't speak like a Texan.
Yeah, because you're a teacher, so you gotta change your accent for your profession.
Well, yes, of course. And I mean, it would be, for example, if you were from England, you're a Cockney from East London, and they tell you to use RP, you're going to have to learn how to use RP.
Yeah. Cockney can be like really like it's an interesting accent, to be honest. I mean, I've heard Cockney, I've even tried to learn Cockney, and the people over there are like, mate, fancy a cup of tea, love? I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like
Kappa.
that's cup of tea, love. They're so cool.
Yeah, they are. I would kind of compare it to the Chilango accent of the people that live in Mexico City. They always talk in a singing accent.
What?
They always talk in an accent where it sounds more like they're singing than they're
Oh,
talking.
can you
Hola
do that?
amigos, it'll be something like this. Hola amigos, ¿qué pasa, raza? Aquí estamos en el mercado de Coyoacán. Vamos a comprar algunos víveres para nuestra casa. So
That
it's like to
sounds so
say,
nice. That actually sounds nice, you know? It may put you in a really happy mood.
oh yeah, that's why like, and in Puebla they kind of speak like in a singing accent too, but slower.
Oh,
Uh,
that's how I normally talk in Hindi.
oh really?
Yes. I'm
Everyone
always like
sings
this.
in Hindi too.
No, 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 not everyone. I think it's only me because people are always over here like, Janhavi, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, no, no issues. Come on, let's do this. So everyone's like, okay, fine. So yeah, I talk like that. You know, I like to put people in a happy mood, in a positive mood.
Right now, with the current situation, they need that more than ever. So continue with your singing. Don't let
Thank you.
people deride you
Yes,
whenever
but
you want to
I
say
can't
that.
meet people anymore. I can't meet people anymore.
Well, just put out something on Instagram, even if it's like
Yes.
one of those 1 minute story videos or
Oh yeah.
Facebook reel or something like that.
Yeah.
Then share it to your friends or share it publicly. It's like to say, hello, I'm Janhavi from Mariana, and I want to. And it's like talk about your life, talk about like other
I
things
do
that's
that.
going
I,
on.
I I actually do that. I'm actually I'm most of the times I'm on YouTube. I'm teaching people like some American accent rules and everything, how to improve their communication skills. I'm 17 years of age at the moment, and I'm doing like masters in English literature. So I keep just telling people about that. Then at the end of the
You're
video,
a
I'm always like,
prodigy.
uh, yeah, you can.
17 and a master's. And when I was 17 years old, I was in high school.
Yes, most of the people are in high school in my country too.
Well, you're already working on a master's degree at that age. That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm also
So,
working on different accents.
yeah. So it's very cool that you're doing that. So
Thank you.
continue doing this. You got your dreams, you got your life ahead of you. Um, in this age, I mean, if you have like any followers there in India or otherwise, the more voices you have of optimism, of strength, the better off not only you're going to be, but your country's going to be because they'll be hearing you, they'll be hearing others saying, come on, guys, we're Indians.
Yeah, I have like 5
Let's
lakh
join together.
subscribers. So yeah, I try to do my best.
Yeah, of course. And I hope that you'll be able to continue doing that. Just
Of
reach as
course.
many people as you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, still got a couple minutes left, 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
So, did you have any more questions for me today?
No, I just wanted to have a chat about American accent and just basically wanted to have a conversation. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, like, any particular questions about like any of the American accents? Like, what makes, I don't know, California different from like the South or the
Oh
North or
yeah,
anything like that?
I love to. Yes, please.
Okay. So the local accent in Texas, it's kind of like a mixture of both Western and Southern. The Southern accent, you're probably well known as, well, I'll go back and revert to what I used to speak like 10 years ago, something like this. And then the Western accent, well, they will tend to eliminate the T's in the middle of the word. They'll turn the T into a glottal stop,
Oh, I
like
do
what you
that a
East
lot.
Londoners
Yeah.
would do. So I will do that too because I also lived in the West for a time period. So that's kind of like another reason why I don't have that strict Southern accent anymore.
Yes.
So I like, for example, I if I was like in the Eastern United States, water is still water. But if you're in the South and especially in the West, that becomes water.
Water. I
Like
do
the T
water.
kind of declines back to
It's
a
a flap.
D.
It's a flap T. Yeah. Flap
Yeah,
T, glottal stops. Yeah, I do these every time.
yeah. So, but the Cockneys, they're like super strong with that. Wah,
Of course.
wah.
What?
So, yeah. So, but in the Western United States, they don't usually do a glottal stop unless it's like at the very end of a word. Like, repeat after me. Mountain,
Mountain.
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 Uh-huh. So
Yeah, I
like when
know
it's the
that one.
last
Like,
syllable there.
over whenever you're like doing this N and T sound, so you basically just stop your tongue on the roof of your mouth and then you just bring it like forward while you're pronouncing
Yeah,
the sound. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. All right, so it's
Mountain.
like the T's will become weaker the further
Yes.
west and south you go in the United States.
All
And
right.
also the R's are very strong in the United States.
Of course.
They're but if you're like in the eastern United States, they kind of copy England a bit, and which
Oh.
the R's kind of become more like semi-vocalic A's. It becomes non-rhotic.
Oh yeah, I know about that. I've heard this. Yes.
Yeah. And another one is that the you'll have like a little bit more rounded accent as well. Like if you go to Boston, they don't pronounce their city as Boston. They pronounce it as Boston.
Oh, they pronounce their
Like
O
the
as
O's
ah.
kind of becomes, yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
that there. It's like, for example, instead of car keys, they say cat keys.
What sort of accent do you think I have?
I'm not sure. It's definitely not like a traditional Indian.